Right, building a shot maker. I got a lot of people asking me about my ladles. Obviously that won't make shot on its own. You need to fashion some sort of heat source. There's two basic ways: use a gas ring or use an electric element. I'm going to concentrate on this video on making an electric one because I think you inevitably have more control over the heat of the lead. We'll go into that later, so I'll put that down. Right, what I've got here is a standard ring off a cooker. It's an old one. I know it works. There'll be a twin element in there. This particular one is two kilowatt. This one is, but a 1500 watt one will work just as well. Like I say, this has been salvaged out of an old cooker, and what you must be aware of if you're going to build one with an electric element, if you haven't already got some, try and source some fiberglass insulated electrical wiring. This will help to withstand the heat, because obviously this is going to open up to its full potential for heating the lead, and you don't want any plastic wiring in there because it'll just melt. So that's the heat source. So we've got to try and fix one of my ladles to the heat source and an ice box, and then basically we'll have a shot maker. That's all there is to it, really. I'm no electrical wizard or anything like that, but you must make sure that you know which wires go where. Normally on these twin element hobs, rings, whatever you call them, there's two elements in there. They're normally numbered. You can't see, but under the wires there it's numbered. It's numbered 1, 2, 4, 3. So you've got 1's alive, 2's a neutral, black's alive, 2's a neutral, 3 is alive, and 4's a neutral. So you want both your neutrals together there and both your lives together there. If you only got a single element ring, 1500 watt ring, you'll just have a live and a neutral coming off, so that'll be simpler. But I thought I'd utilise this because I've got it for nothing. Got a smaller one there, same principle. If you can see the numbers on there, they've got, I don't know if it's going to focus on that, so you can see it. But you've got, basically you've got 1, 2, 4, 3. So that'll be live. Number 1 will be live. 2 will be neutral. 3 will be live. 4 will be neutral. So they're all basically the same. You can pick them up for a tenner anyway, brand new. But I'm doing this for this, which just costs nothing. So I'm just going to basically want to show you how easy it is to make a shot maker. So we've got a heat source. We've got a ladle. If you get one of these off me, you know how to contact me. You're either on eBay or you can contact me through the Gmail address. And then we're just going to need to fashion some sort of box. But the main thing to consider is the fiberglass insulated wires, so we can get some distance away before we connect to the standard plastic wires. This is standard kettle lead, that was 13 amp kettle lead, 240 volts. If you're in the States and you're dealing with 110 volts, obviously your wiring will be different, and you have to have a separate fuse somewhere in the system. Whereas in the UK here we have fuses already in our plugs. So that's got a 13 amp fuse in it, so that's more than capable for doing over 3 kilowatts. So that's the heat source, that's the ladle. Now I need to make a box. Right, presuming that you've sorted some sort of heat source out, in my case I'm doing electric, you need to get yourself some scrap metal. A bit of scrap metal here, it's off an old locker, I think. I don't know what thickness it is, probably, I don't know, it's less than a millimetre thick anyway, it doesn't really matter. That's got a nice bend on the front, so the ladle will sit on like that. Element to be under there. And what I propose doing is, looking at it from the front, is to do it 13 inches wide, 13 inches wide, so after neaten this up, obviously cut it with a grinder, 13 inches wide by 18 inches deep. So you get the idea, be 13 inches wide, 18 inches deep, and then obviously the electrical element that you're going to use, whichever one you're going to use. This is alright. This is quite good actually, because it's got the ring it sits on, so that will give me the perfect size for the hole to cut in the steel. So to find the centre is 13 inches, which is 6.5. Last time I went to school, so 6.5 inch. What you need to do as well, when you make your metal box, make sure your element is right onto this front edge here. The reason for that is that the ladle with its ramp, where the shot rolls down, needs to sit right on that edge, so you can get some sort of catchment box underneath with your cooling tin, your fabric conditioner or whatever you're going to use. So right on the front edge it wants to go to. So say that's the element. What we want for the element is the inner side of that. So put that central on there, right on the front edge, as you can see. With plenty, that one. Make sure it's in the centre, more or less. It's not rocket science. And then draw yourself a nice hole on there. We do it a bit neater than what I've done it. I've got some slots in there already, so you get a metal jigsaw blade in there, and then we can cut that out. I like to set the angle at roughly 15 degrees, so that'll give us the size of the parts for the sides and back. So we'll get that cut out, and then we'll go on to the next stage. Right, we've got the pieces of metal cut out now. I'll give you the sizes in a minute, show you what I've done. Probably the most fiddly bit is fitting the element to the front of the shot maker. So you can see I've got him anchored at the back, put a reinforcing bar across. I'll salvage that out of the old cooker, let it come off. I've left a V of metal in there, if you can see that, just for those two studs to stop it spinning, and then it's tightened up. We've got clearance, everything's got clearance, so the element's not actually touching this top face of the shot maker, so we're not going to heat this up as well, not to that extent anyway. Also earth, I forgot to mention the earth before. We've got the lives and the neutrals there. Most important, it needs to be earthed or ground. That'll be attached to there, and on the back side of the actual box, it'll have a ground position as well for the feed coming in. So it'll all be grounded, it'll all be earthed, so it'll be, nobody's going to get electrocuted. The sides, this is one of the sides. once again it's cut out of the scrap what I'd left lying around, which happened to have these bends already on, which was useful, but we could have managed without them. It's 6 inches at the back, 2 inches at the front, and I've cut it with the tabs on so you can get the angle. It's 16 3/4 inches or 425mm to that bend. So that's the left hand side, looking at the front of the machine. This is the right hand side. I've already done the bends on it. You can see at the front and the 2 tabs there that will secure the top. So basically the top's going to sit on top of there like so. Obviously the other side will have to be done and that'll have to be fixed on. So that'll be set on there like so. The other side will be, left hand side will be, tabs will be bent, and I'm going to pop rivet through into the tabs. Back piece is cut to go in the back. I think that's 6 inches by 12 inches. And then we've got the base that will go on after. So I'll make all the box up. I'll fix the top to the sides, put the back on, leave the bottom open, and then I can do the wiring up through the bottom. Basically, my ladle on the front like so. There's your expensive shop maker. In my case, it cost me note. So I'll get that fixed together and then we'll move on to the wiring so you can see how fairly straightforward that is.